They looked like the perfect couple, wealthy, in love, and on a dream vacation. But inside this luxury Bali villa, one secret would turn paradise into a crime scene, and the truth behind it is darker than anyone imagined. From the outside, Daniel and Sarah Collins seemed to have everything. The kind of life people stopped scrolling for. Daniel was an international airline pilot, trusted with hundreds of lives every time he stepped into the cockpit. He was known for his discipline, calm personality, and quiet confidence. Friends describe him as dependable, precise, and emotionally steady. The kind of man who never lost control. Sarah was his perfect match, or so it appeared. She was elegant, charming, and always well put together. Her smile was effortless, her presence warm. On social media, she shared carefully framed moments, dinners under soft lights, ocean views from private balconies, and smiling selfies beside Daniel in his crisp pilot uniform. Their life looked flawless, almost unreal. People often commented, "You're living the dream." Daniel and Sarah met 5 years earlier during a layover in Singapore. A brief conversation at a hotel lounge turned into hours of talking. Within a year, they were married. Their relationship moved fast, but neither questioned it. Daniel believed he had found stability. Sarah believed she had found safety. Their marriage was built on travel, luxury, and routine. Daniel flew across continents while Sarah managed their home and social life. When he returned from long flights, she greeted him with warmth and affection. They rarely argued. At least, not in public. To celebrate their 5th wedding anniversary, Daniel planned something special. He booked a private luxury villa in Bali, isolated, peaceful, surrounded by palm trees and silence. No hotel staff. No schedules. Just time together. Daniel believed distance from the world would bring them even closer. Sarah seemed thrilled. She told friends it would be the perfect escape. A reset. A chance to reconnect. The villa itself looked like a postcard. White stone walls, a private pool reflecting the sky, glass doors opening to the jungle beyond. Inside, everything was spotless. Minimal. Expensive. The kind of place where nothing felt out of place. On their first night, they shared wine by the pool. Laughed. Talked about the past. Talked about the future. Music played softly in the background. To anyone watching from the outside, it was a picture of love and success. But beneath the calm surface, something was shifting. Daniel noticed small details he couldn't explain. Sarah checked her phone more often than usual. She smiled, but it didn't always reach her eyes. When Daniel asked if everything was okay, she said she was just tired from traveling. He accepted the answer. That night, as the villa lights dimmed and the jungle grew quiet, Daniel believed he was lying beside the woman he truly knew. He believed their marriage was strong. He believed the life they built was real. He did not know that the foundation of that perfect life was already cracking, and that this peaceful villa, meant to celebrate love, would soon witness something far darker. The second day in Bali began like the first, sunlight pouring through the glass walls, birds calling from the trees, and the calm sound of water moving through the pool. Daniel woke early, his body still adjusted to flight schedules. Sarah was already awake, sitting at the edge of the bed, her phone glowing in her hands. She quickly locked the screen when she noticed him watching. "Work stuff," she said before he could ask, forcing a smile. Daniel nodded, though something about her tone felt rushed. Still, he brushed the feeling aside. Pilots were trained to focus on facts, not emotions. And the fact was, they were on vacation. There was no reason to doubt her. They spent the afternoon exploring nearby beaches. Tourists smiled, vendors laughed, and for a few hours, Sarah seemed like herself again. She held Daniel's hand. She laughed freely. The tension faded, almost. That evening, back at the villa, the unease returned. Sarah kept stepping away to take calls. Her voice dropped whenever she spoke. When Daniel asked who it was, she said it was an old friend dealing with a personal problem. Daniel didn't push. He trusted her. Later that night, while Sarah showered, Daniel's phone vibrated on the table. A message appeared on the screen. The sender's name was unfamiliar. The message read, "He doesn't know yet, right?" Daniel stared at the words. His chest tightened. The message wasn't meant for him. It was meant for Sarah. When she returned, wrapped in a towel, Daniel held up the phone. His voice was steady, but his hands weren't. "What is this?" Sarah froze. The color drained from her face. For a moment, she said nothing. Then she sat down, slowly, as if her legs had given up. "I didn't want you to find out like this," she whispered. At first, she denied the message meant anything serious. Then the lies collapsed. Sarah began to cry. Deep, broken sobs. She confessed that before she met Daniel, her life had been chaotic. She moved often, changed names, trusted the wrong people. She said she did things she wasn't proud of, things she had tried to leave behind. "There are people from my past," she said. "They found me." Daniel felt the room closing in. He listened as Sarah explained that someone had been demanding money and threatening to expose everything if she didn't cooperate. She said she was afraid of losing Daniel, afraid of destroying the life they had built. Daniel was angry, hurt, confused. But beneath it all, he felt something worse, betrayal. Their marriage, the trust, the image, had it all been built on a lie? Still, he took a deep breath. Years of flying had taught him how to remain calm under pressure. "We'll leave Bali early," he said. "We'll deal with this together." Sarah nodded, relief washing over her face. She thanked him again and again, promising there were no more secrets. But as the night grew quiet, Daniel lay awake, staring at the ceiling. His thoughts raced. The message, the tears, the sudden fear in Sarah's eyes. He believed he had just uncovered her darkest secret. He had no idea the truth was far more dangerous, and far closer, than he imagined. Night fell slowly over the villa, wrapping the property in thick darkness. The sounds of Bali, crickets, distant waves, rustling leaves, grew louder as the world outside disappeared. Inside the villa, the air felt heavy, tense, almost suffocating. Dinner sat untouched on the table. Daniel stood near the glass doors, staring into the black jungle beyond the pool. Sarah sat on the couch, her knees pulled close to her chest, her phone lying face down beside her. Neither spoke. The earlier conversation hung between them like an invisible wall. When Daniel finally turned around, his voice was low and controlled. "You promised there were no more secrets." Sarah looked up, her eyes tired and wet. She said she had told him everything that mattered. That she was scared. That she just wanted peace. But her words sounded rehearsed, as if she had said them many times before. Daniel pressed her harder this time. He asked about the money, the messages, the people who were supposedly threatening her. Each question sharpened the tension. Sarah's answers grew shorter. Her hands trembled. Then she said something that changed the tone of the night. "You wouldn't understand," she said quietly. Daniel felt something inside him crack. His voice rose. Years of discipline slipped as anger took control. He accused her of using him, of building a marriage on lies, of turning him into a stranger in his own life. Sarah stood up, backing away toward the staircase. She begged him to calm down. She said they could still fix things. That leaving Bali would solve everything. But Daniel wasn't listening anymore. The argument escalated quickly. Voices echoed off the villa's stone walls. Harsh words replaced reason. The paradise they had come to enjoy was now filled with fear and desperation. At some point, Sarah tried to leave the room. She reached for her bag. Daniel blocked her path. What happened next would later be debated in court, analyzed by experts, and replayed in Daniel's mind over and over again. What is certain is this: a struggle took place. Furniture was knocked aside. A glass shattered. The argument ended abruptly. Silence followed. The villa, once alive with laughter, now stood frozen. No movement. No sound. Just the distant noise of the jungle continuing as if nothing had happened. Hours later, a nearby security camera captured Daniel walking outside the villa. He paced near the gate, running his hands through his hair, stopping, then walking again. He looked lost. Panicked. Nothing like the calm pilot people knew. At 3:42 a.m., Daniel picked up his phone and made a call. His voice was steady when he spoke to emergency services. Too steady. He said his wife had fallen down the stairs. He said it was an accident. He said he needed help. When responders arrived, they found the villa lights on and the doors wide open. Sarah lay motionless on the floor. There were no signs of a fall from the staircase. Instead, there were signs of a violent confrontation. The luxury villa had become something else entirely. A crime scene. As dawn approached, flashing lights reflected off the white stone walls. Paradise was gone. And with it, the perfect life Daniel believed he had protected. What remained was a single question investigators could not ignore. What really happened during those silent hours inside the villa? By morning, the luxury villa was surrounded by police tape. What had once been a private escape now stood exposed under flashing lights and watchful eyes. Investigators moved carefully through each room, documenting every detail. Nothing was overlooked. Every object, every mark, every minute mattered. Daniel sat quietly on a nearby chair, hands folded, eyes fixed on the floor. He repeated the same story again and again. Sarah had slipped. She had fallen. It was a tragic accident. His tone never changed. He showed no anger, no visible grief. Just calm. Too calm. Detectives noticed it immediately. They began with the physical evidence. The staircase Daniel described showed no signs of a fall. No blood. No damage. Instead, investigators found broken glass near the living area, a shifted table, and faint marks on the floor that suggested a struggle. Then came Sarah's belongings. Her passport and phone were not in her bag. They were hidden inside a drawer in the bedroom. Investigators questioned why someone planning to relax on vacation would hide such important items. It suggested intent, fear, or preparation to leave. Daniel was asked about it. He said he didn't know. The investigation deepened. Phone records revealed Sarah had attempted to call someone earlier that night. The call was never completed. Security footage from the road outside showed her standing near the villa gate hours before the emergency call, but she never left. Someone had stopped her. Then the case took an unexpected turn. Financial investigators began reviewing the couple's accounts. What they found shocked everyone involved. Large sums of money had been moved between international accounts over several years. Most of them were under Sarah's name. At first, it seemed to support Daniel's version of events. It looked like Sarah had been hiding something serious. But when investigators traced the origin of the transactions, the truth began to surface. The money did not start with Sarah. It started with Daniel. Using his position and frequent international travel, Daniel had quietly moved funds through different countries, placing accounts in Sarah's name to avoid attention. She had discovered the truth weeks earlier. Messages recovered from her phone confirmed it. Sarah had not been running from her past. She had been trying to escape his. One message stood out. It was sent to a close friend just days before the trip to Bali. "If anything happens to me," it read, "tell them to look at the money." When detectives confronted Daniel with the evidence, cracks finally appeared. His calm mask slipped. His answers became inconsistent. He blamed stress, pressure, fear of losing everything he had worked for. But the facts were clear. Sarah had threatened to expose him. And the trip to Bali was not an escape. It was a trap. By the end of the investigation, Daniel was no longer treated as a grieving husband. He was treated as a suspect. Handcuffs replaced sympathy. The pilot admired for his control had lost it when his perfect image was at risk. The case had flipped completely. The woman believed to be hiding a dark secret had been silenced for discovering one. And the man trusted with lives in the sky now faced judgment on the ground. The trial began months later, far from the quiet villa where everything ended. The courtroom was crowded with journalists, legal experts, and curious onlookers. Everyone wanted to understand how a man admired for his discipline and responsibility could be standing accused of murder. Daniel Collins entered the courtroom wearing a plain suit. No uniform. No confidence. The pilot who once commanded respect now avoided eye contact. His carefully constructed image had collapsed, leaving behind a man exposed and afraid. Prosecutors laid out the story piece by piece. They showed how Daniel had used his international travel to move money across borders. How he had placed accounts in Sarah's name to protect himself. How she had discovered the truth and demanded he stop, or she would go to the authorities. Witnesses testified that Sarah had been planning to leave him. A close friend read her final message aloud. The courtroom fell silent as her words echoed through the room. She was not afraid of losing her marriage. She was afraid of losing her life. Daniel's defense argued that the night in Bali had been a moment of panic. A fight that went too far. A man overwhelmed by pressure and fear. They claimed it was never planned. But the evidence told a different story. The hidden passport. The blocked exit. The delayed emergency call. Each detail pointed toward control, not chaos. toward intention, not accident. When Daniel finally took the stand, his voice trembled for the first time. He admitted to the financial crimes. He admitted to lying. And then, quietly, he admitted what happened that night. He said he felt trapped, exposed, powerless. In that moment, he chose himself over the woman he promised to protect. The verdict came quickly. Guilty. Daniel was sentenced to life in prison. The sentence echoed through the courtroom, final and unforgiving. There was no applause, no celebration, just silence. Outside, reporters spoke of irony. A man trusted with hundreds of lives in the sky had destroyed one on the ground. A pilot trained to remain calm in emergencies had failed when it mattered most. Sarah's story became a warning. About appearances. About trust. About the danger of believing that a perfect life means a safe one. The Bali villa was eventually sold. Renovated. Its walls repainted. But locals say no amount of luxury could erase what happened there. A place meant for love had witnessed betrayal instead. In the end, this was not just a story about murder. It was a story about masks, how carefully people hide behind them, and how violently they fight to protect them when they begin to crack. Because sometimes, the most dangerous secrets are not the ones we hide from the world. They are the ones we hide from the people who know us best.